introduction to what AdWords is about. So some of you have already gone through the session, but some of you haven't. And it's going to be a more hands-on session. So what we're going to actually do is, after presenting, we're going to walk through with you how to set up an AdWords account, how to properly structure the account. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Today's session is, like I mentioned earlier, is going to cover mostly a very short introduction to AdWords and what it's about, how to use it, and how to set up a campaign. So that will take about 45 minutes to an hour. Once we're done with that, we'll take a short break, and then we'll come back and we'll divide the classroom into a group of 4. Preferably people that have laptops can group up with people that don't have laptops. And we can go into your accounts and set up an AdWords account, properly structure it for the rest of the day. We do have to leave a little bit early because we have a plane to catch. And please feel free to jump in anytime we're presenting, ask as many questions as you like. We're more than happy to answer all of them. So while we get this set up, hopefully it'll be good to go. Ayam, would you like to introduce yourself as well? It's the largest pedestrian-only area in the world, and to actually get to the hotel, you park your car outside the city and you have to walk through all these tight alleyways and so on to get to the hotel. And even when you get there, it's really hard to find because all the streets are just walls and there are small doors. And you walk in and you're just in this really huge riyadh, as they call them, and the hotel is there. So when we got there, the hotel we were staying at is called Riyadh La Rusa. They were so excited to know we're from Google because they actually use Google AdWords to advertise online. And the thing is, like I was saying, it's so hard to find them on the map. Google AdWords actually helped them be found. Okay, and that's how we actually found them and visited them. So just when you watch the video, just pay attention to the streets and to what Frank says, the owner of the hotel. So enjoy.
Fez has been built on the 8th century. There is a lot of history. That's what makes it magical. The great thing about Fez is that it is disconnected from the modern world. On the 17th century. It has 8 rooms, mainly it's suites that has been restored. In such an old environment, being visible is very difficult, especially as we want to work with travel agents. The only thing we rely on is our website. AdWords gave a boost to our website. The great things about the AdWords tool give me a much higher visibility because I know that I will always be ranked at the top of the first page. So I use Google Analytics as well to see what languages are used to see my website. Up to now, most of our visitors were coming from the States, and now as we have several websites in different languages, we are targeting more Europe and Asia.
From that example, you can see how powerful AdWords is to the point that it actually got an almost invisible business on the map. So just a very quick introduction again. My name is Omar Abu Salman. I'm joined by my colleague Perihan. You can find us on Google Plus and on Twitter, so feel free to take our contact details down. I'll just leave that there for a few more seconds. And I'll let Perihan take over from now. Again, if you have any questions while we're presenting, please feel free to interrupt us, to ask anything you want. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, this is our agenda for today. We're going to go through some definitions related to AdWords and advertising with Google. What is it? Where can your ads show? Basically, on the platform. How they're ranked. How much do you pay? How do you like? A whole bunch of things that we're going to go through today. Half of it I'm going to cover, and then the rest of the homework is going to cover. So, okay, so some important definitions. I'm sure some of you that attended already the AdWords 101 are already familiar with it. So, I'm sorry if some things sound repetitive, but it's important for those who didn't know. Okay, so first thing is, what is a search query? That's very easy. It's basically what. So, search query is basically when somebody goes to Google search engine and just types something to search for. So that's a search query. Very easy. Some of it actually goes on the platform or like Google search engine, and some of them go on other websites that are powered, have search engine basically powered by Google. Okay? Alright, so impression. What is an impression? It's basically when there is an ad that shows related to the search query that you're looking for. So if I'm searching for a hotel booking, for instance, and then there is an ad that matches this search that I'm looking for, this is an impression. It counts as an impression. Alright. What is a click? Easy. When you click on the impression. Okay? So what is the CTR? It's basically how many out of the impressions that appear are clicked. So it's a click-through rate. How many basically you click on those impressions. And cost per click, it's basically how much is costing you for each click. And landing page is basically the website. So if you're clicking on the ad or the impression, if we're going to use proper terms, so if you're clicking on the impression, then it should take you to a website. This is what we usually call a landing page. So it could be a website, just like for branding website. It could be a blog. It could be an e-commerce platform where people are selling. It could be even a social media page, like Facebook page or Google Plus. So whatever it is. Google Network, it's basically, so when we say that we're covering search or display, so it's a whole network. It's not just our platform, it's not just our websites, but it's also websites that have agreements with Google to basically place ads on their websites. So it could be either search, so whoever is using technology of search engine powered by Google, or it could be if it's a display network, so where the ads are basically in pictures, like a news website or a sports website where people can actually place ads, sometimes blogs even, or a forum. People can actually, advertisers can place their ads on those websites. So I covered Google Network, Search Network, and Display Network. Okay, so what is Google AdWords? Okay, sorry, yeah, I'm quite afraid actually I'm going to be too loud, but yeah, sorry. So Google AdWords is basically, very simply, it's the advertising program that Google offers for advertisers. It's as simple as that. So basically, as advertisers, it says out here, it allows advertisers whatever they are. So it could be, again, a company or somebody who has a blog that thinks is really important and really wants to promote. Anybody who wants to reach out to people, the online community can actually advertise through creating very, very simple, through very simple steps that we're going to go through today. Okay, so how does it work? I'm sure some of you heard about that already, but so basically when you're creating your campaign, your online advertising campaign on AdWords, you create something called a list of keywords. What are the keywords? It's basically the list of words that you think will match what people will look for. And how does it work? Is that when somebody is searching for a query, the search query, putting on the search engine, it matches the keywords of the advertiser. So let's say, for instance, a bookstore and I have an online bookstore basically. I can put my keywords as in book in Saudi Arabia, books in Riyadh, novels, a whole list of keywords that people can search for. And then when somebody puts in a search query, it matches my campaign just because I put my keywords there. Okay? do an accent.
Yeah. So, is everyone on track? Is everything understood so far? If you don't understand anything, just let us know.
Yeah, just raise your hand if I'm going too fast or if I'm being a bit complicated to professional talk. Just raise your hand and I'll explain. Yeah.
Okay, so this slide just shows the difference between paid ads and ads that appear organically. So ads that appear without any advertiser being behind it, funding it to appear on the top or on the side. So it's very important for you to differentiate this. So Google AdWords helps you by letting your ads appear, either 3 at the top or 8 on the side, as you can see. It in no way influences ads at the bottom. This is all organic or natural search results. And this is just the same example in Arabic, so you guys are familiar with it.
Okay, so again, when you're creating your campaign, you have to not just put the keywords, but you have to also develop an ad text or basically create an ad, just like what's going to be said, what do you want people to see about your product or whatever you promote. So this is the ad text. When you go into AdWords, basically the platform, you start typing in basically what you want people to see. So these are the specs. It's limited by characters, number of characters. So all the ads that you see on Google basically have pretty much the same. They have the same limits. Headline is 25 characters. Description 35 for 2 description lines. And then there is what we call the display URL. So what is the website that people will see, or the URL that it would appear to people that they need to click on it. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the same URL on the website. So for instance, sometimes you may have, again, back to the example of bookstore, and you have a very, very lengthy, URL. You don't want people to see the whole thing. You can just write bookstore Saudi Arabia.com, and then this is basically what's visible to people, but it's not necessarily the real URLs.
Okay, so this is quite important when you're writing ad text. So I'm gonna ask again, how many characters in the headline? Try not to look. Okay.
You're looking.
The description is line 1 and 2.
35.
Okay. And destination URL. Are you guys looking at the screen? Okay. Alright, it's very important that you know that. Why? Because when you're shaping your ad text, when you're writing it, sometimes you go over the character limit, and sometimes it's also very frustrating. But the reason it's done like that is to keep it sort of united. So not some people have a really long ad that takes over other people's ad space. No, that everything is equal among all advertisers.
Okay. So there are certain policies as well that that you can actually go see online. So I'm not going to go through all of them, there's too many. But there are certain sort of guidelines that or policies that guide basically how you write your ads. So things that have to do with capitalization, excessive use of punctuation, things like that. So some ads may be disapproved just because they don't match or they don't follow policies.
Just adding up on that, we don't want people to use gimmicky text, so text that sort of attracts attention. For example, a lot of exclamation marks, like Karihan said, or just weird text that will draw attention to ads that may not be useful at all. Okay, so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is this there was a policy that you are unable or not allowed to advertise on brand name descriptions, and we use a lot of, let's say, suppliers in our products, in our business telecom solutions, well-known names, and we like to advertise with those as well. Is that now possible?
Okay, so that's basically a trademark policy. So you're not, if there's any trademark, you're not allowed to advertise using a trademark unless you have a trademark agreement. So if they're suppliers, then it shouldn't be a big problem to get their agreement to basically advertise their trademark. But you can bid on the trademark itself. So your ad will appear, but you cannot really use it unless you have an agreement with the trademark owner.
Can you show Google that I have the
Yes, you have to show us that you have this agreement. So I don't think in case of having suppliers it will be a big problem because you're cross-marketing.
And you can understand why we do that, right? So in case someone wants to use the name to say that it's a bad product or so on, it won't allow. So when you have an agreement the supplier or the partner and so on, and you present it to us, we'll be able to use the name in your ads.
And sometimes actually, especially with trademarks, they always have like corporate branding kind of policies on their own. So even if you're saying good things about them, not bad ones, they want to make sure that you're abiding their guidelines as well. So we want to make sure that we protect the owners, the rightful owners of the trademarks.
Cool, so let's see if you guys are paying attention. Okay?
Present.
Alright. First question, what is the formula for click-through rates?
Click over impressions.
What's that?
Click over impressions.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Next. Yeah. How many? Okay. And the last one? How many ads appear on Google search? The maximum.
Maximum.
6.
Okay.
He said it was
11. Alright, so let's go to the answers. So that's correct. Okay, so 35, very good. And 11. Alright, so we have some mugs here to give away. I'm going to keep a mental note of who's answering more correct questions. And at the end of the session, we'll give away the mugs. Cool? So that's why you need to pay really special attention to what we're presenting. Okay.
Okay, so where are they basically going to show your ads when you place them? Are you create one? Okay, so again, as I said, we have two types of networks, the display network and the search network. So the search network, this is this is a snapshot from when you're setting your campaign, and it allows you to choose which networks that you want to advertise on. So for the search, you can either choose just Google search, so ads will only appear on the Google search engine page, or if you also want to include search network, which includes all the websites that use Google search engine technology. So you choose those, and the other one is the content network, which is the display network. So basically this is instead of text ad, it's actually image ads. So when you have some creatives or rich media that you want to use to basically to be more attractive kind of thing, this is why you can use content network. Either our own websites or ones that are in our network, other websites. Okay, so
It's just a display network.
oh, okay, so all right, so for the display network, we have different types of targeting. By targeting, it's basically you're able to choose the way that you want to reach your customers or target your customers. One of the very common ones, it's basically, this is for GTN, which is Google Display or Google Content Network. The easy ones, it's called contextual. So let me put it this way. So when you're targeting your audience on the Google Content Network, you can either target them based on a context, or you can, basically you can target them based on audience. So I'll try to make this simple. So context is that basically you choose the keywords that fall within the context of this website, for instance, or this kind of people that visit that website, mainly website, and then basically this is how your ads are going to show. So let's give you an example. So if, again, let's say I'm a bank, okay, I want to advertise credit cards. So I'll put the keywords. I'll put credit card. I'll put loans. I'll put Visa, MasterCard, apply for credit cards. Like I'll put these keywords, and then the system automatically will trigger the websites that basically show relevance to this kind of keywords or this kind of business. Sorry.
How many keywords can you tap?
So for contextual, you can actually put 250, I think. Yeah, up to like 250 keywords. Yeah, or even a bit more. So. It's not good. If it's keyword contextual, it's not a very big deal with the number of, you will definitely have enough keywords, because we want to make sure that you include as many keywords as possible to increase your reach. So it's not very limited, it will give you enough exposure basically. Another one has to do with topics. So it's basically what are the topics of these websites or categories of those websites. So the system basically will choose the websites that fall into or are relevant to have the topics of relevant specifically to what you're doing. So again, back to the example of the bank or the credit cards, it will usually show on, you can choose the topics that you want your ad to show on. So you can choose, you say, okay, my understanding that basically anybody who's applying for credit cards would be somebody who visits a news website or a finance website. So you choose the topics that basically are of the website, the topics of the websites where your ads are going to show. Simple? Get it? Okay. All right. Okay, so we covered that. Yeah, for placements, that's actually another way. It's that you specifically, or you go manually select which websites you want your ads to show on. So this can actually work if in one of two cases. One is that if you have a very, very niche market that you're targeting, and you know that they go to this specific website. So if you have a luxurious product, or you know that, and that you're targeting, you know, to C-level kind of managers, and you want basically to target those specific people, then you would choose the specific websites that you are aware these people or this market actually visits. So this is basically when you choose the specific placements. Okay, yeah.
About displaying the ad, you told us it's depending on based on two contexts, and the other one is what?
No, it's not. It's actually targeting. It's either context or audience. You base it based on context or audience. So for context, it's keywords. Yeah. So what I mentioned, audience. It's you can choose the demographic. So you choose. So basically, you're choosing which people would actually see your ad, as opposed to which websites our ads would appear on. So context is basically the context of the website. So it could be either, again, placements, you choose exactly which websites, or contextual, keyword contextual, so it matches the keywords that you put, or topics, you choose the categories or the topics of the websites that basically your ad should appear on. But with audience, you choose who would actually see your ad, and this could be either by demographics. So you go basically and say, okay, I want people that are from this specific age range, females, males, and you choose those people, and basically and geographic, of course, and then this is how you target them. Or it could be based on interest, and this is basically when the system triggers your browsing, whenever you're browsing, it sort of triggers the interest. It kind of deducts or deduces, what interest that you have. So if you search a lot for travel, then it's going to put in one of your interests is basically travel. And when you choose what we call interest category marketing as a way of targeting, you would basically your ads will show when only to people that not necessarily the website, regardless of the website, but only to people that show travel, have travel in their interests, logged in their interests. So it's again context, website versus audience, like who versus when or where.
These targeting options are actually quite complex, and you don't really need to go so deep into them. But what you need to remember is that you have contextual targeting and placement targeting. Contextual targeting just takes the keywords that you have selected and matches them with the hundreds of thousands of websites that may have similar keywords in the text and places your ad there so it's relevant for you. Placement targeting is when you go through the websites yourself and handpick them. Okay? Is that clear for everyone? Go ahead.
For example, when I search for travel, for how long Google will keep in my interest that I'm interested in travel?
Okay, so cookies are kept for 30 days.
And usually you have disclaimers saying that there's a cookie being tracked here, so users know that they're going to be tracked. So it's going to be 30 days, and then the cookie will die. Okay.
Unless you keep, searching for travel.
Okay.
So it shows you how your ads are ranked, and by rank we mean where or which position your ad is going to show. So if we said that we have 11 ads, so we have 11 different positions. So where, which number basically, or which position is your ad going to fall on? This is how it's calculated. So part of the formula is basically the click-through rate. So the system would see with the the more impressions that you get, it would see take into consideration how many of those impressions your ad was clicked, and the CTR basically is sort of a metric that measures the relevance and how liked your ad is. So it would take that into consideration, and it would improve your rank. The second, sorry.
Is it per user or per campaign?
So what? No, what do you mean? I'm sorry.
Is CTR fixed for every user or it differs from campaign?
So it's irrespective. It has nothing to do with the user. It has to do with your ad. So let's say you can have in your campaign. We usually advise to have at least like 3 different ad texts. So it would calculate how many your ad appears in the campaign. This specific ad you could have even if you have like 4 or 5 ads. It doesn't matter. So regards, it basically works on this ad, specific ad. So how many how many of the times that it appeared, it was clicked. And this would be the CTR for this specific ad. And basically the higher the clicks you get, or the higher the CTR, the higher the click-through rate, the better your ranking would be every time that it shows. The second metric is actually the quality score. And the quality score, it's actually 2 things. One is, so the click-through rate is part of the quality score, and the second part is the relevance, basically. So how relevant is your keyword or your ad to your page? So let's say, for example, I could be a bank, all right? And I'm doing the credit cards, but then I have one of my keywords as investments, mutual funds, let's say, for example. And then it's not really a product that's visible on my website. So it would really would actually be a lower quality score because it's not highly relevant. And the reason we take that into consideration is that we want to make sure that the ads that appear are of high relevance to what people are searching for. So if your ad, it's not very relevant, even if you have, basically I'm going to tell you about the bid, like the second part of it, it doesn't matter because we really want to make sure that whatever shows is actually of high relevance to what people are searching for. So quality score takes into consideration the click-through rate and the relevance of your keyword or your ad to the website and what people are searching for. What's that? The landing page is the website, that's what I meant. So yeah, I'm trying to limit the...
So quality score is a very complicated metric that has a lot of different factors that play into it becoming what it is. Even us as Googlers, we don't know what all these metrics are. We know as much as you guys know. So these are some of the metrics that are really important. CTR is extremely important because, as Betty said, it is the relevance of the ad. It is so because when people see it, they click on it. Therefore, it's relevant. Okay, so it will give you a better score. And the reason we have this sort of formula is to make sure that a big advertiser doesn't come along and says, okay, I'm going to spend all this money, and shuts out that little advertiser who's actually slowly been developing and improving their campaigns to make it relevant for the user. So we don't want advertisers to just come and pay and suddenly be ranked at the top. No. Of course, we look at the cost per click or how much the advertiser is willing to pay, but we also look at a very important factor, which is the quality score, made up of all of these different metrics.
Especially because sometimes actually it's the little advertiser that provides the user with the service they're looking for or the product. So let's say, for example, if I'm here in Saudi and I want to buy thumb, okay, and then I type in dates in Saudi Arabia. If there was like a big supermarket or a big that's spending a big store that's spending too much money on it, and it was just the money that counts, then they could have been reaching me and basically not giving me the service that I'm looking for, while there could be one little kiosk that basically sells the best thumb that I'm looking for. So we definitely take into consideration the relevance to make sure that the user has the best results and they're actually accurate. So this gives happiness to our advertisers and more importantly the user as well, because they find the results they're looking for. Yeah, so
on average, what is
anything that's above 1%, we usually consider it a good CTR.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it differs also from search to display.
About 3.5.
That's excellent. That's fantastic. If that's what you're getting, then you should be really proud of yourself. Well done.
Okay, so again, as we said, ranking is dynamic. So if your position in on this specific query was number 1, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to maintain the number 1 position in the ad page. So this is, I guess, this is what you're looking for to know exactly how it works. So basically, the ads appear based on an auction. So every single time somebody goes to the search engine, goes to Google search, and types in whatever query, an auction takes place. What happens is basically all the advertisers, the auction happens between all the advertisers that have placed a bid on this specific keyword that's being searched. So again, another example, I want to use a new example. So let's say I'm searching for a digital camera, okay? And I type in latest digital cameras. All the advertisers that are placing bids and on this keyword or something similar to it will actually enter the auction. And then the system will start evaluating. So evaluating the first metric, the quality score that we talked about. So what is the click-through rate, and what is the relevance of your website landing page and your ad to this search query. And it will take also into consideration what is the bid that you've placed on this keyword. So by bid, it's actually, you say, okay, this is the maximum I'm willing to pay per click. So I say this is the maximum CPC cost per click, maximum that I'm willing to pay basically. So if this specific keyword appears, and if I'm an online store that sells only digital cameras, then naturally I should place a high, cost per click or a high bid because I know that this search query is very relevant to the kind of customer that I'm looking for. And if my ad appears, there's a very, very big possibility that they would actually click and purchase from my website. So this is every single time anybody searches for anything, this auction takes place and it takes into consideration the quality score and the bid that you're placing. And then based on this, your ad would appear in one of the 8 positions, on one of the 11 positions. Sorry, I should have corrected me. So one of the 11 positions on the ad page.
Do you have to give a bid for every keyword, or it's for the whole ad?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Actually, so she was asking, do you have to place a bid on every single keyword, or is it on a campaign level? So basically, when you're setting your campaign, you set a sort of lower layer, which is called the ad group. So it could be the category of this, category of different products that you want to, have appear, in the same ad text. And you can either, you can do one or two things, and usually we recommend to do both, is to set a maximum cost per click for the whole ad group, but also go to the keywords that you believe are basically and we have tools that help you with this, that basically either have strong competition, so a lot of people are actually bidding on this page, on this keyword, or if you know that this is very, very highly relevant. So if let's say one of the keywords is, again, back to the example of digital cameras, so buy digital cameras online in Saudi Arabia. Then you know that this is exactly the customer that you're looking for. If somebody's searching for this and you have an online digital camera store, you really want to be like the first ad that this person sees, right? So you would bid higher on this to increase your chances of appearing on a higher, in a higher. But yeah, so it's either this or that.
I have another question. Yeah, I have another question regarding the keywords. If I'm creating a campaign and the keywords I would like them to be Arabic and English, can I have a mixture of Arabic and English keywords?
Okay, so we usually recommend actually to, if you have both English and Arabic, to separate them by campaign. So you have campaign for Arabic and campaign for English. And it has a lot to do with targeting, so which language are you targeting, and also the keywords that you're placing, so they won't basically, they won't eat up, we say cannibalize, so they won't really eat up from their chances, and also because it's relevant to the ad text. Because your ad, if you have keywords in English and the query is in English, you're targeting English, then your ad must appear in English, right? and then Arabic the same. So we usually recommend you can have both languages, but we usually recommend to separate them in different campaigns, basically. Yeah.
Thanks. Can I know what's the appropriate price for I can bid on? Like, what are my competitors? What's their price?
Everybody's question: how much would it cost me? Okay, so I don't know. So basically, it depends, because it depends on so many things. It depends on the competition, and it depends on what is the query, what is the business. So we have really good tools. One of them is a keyword tool, and you can actually search for this specific keyword, and the system will automatically suggest or recommend a certain bid that you can use to start your campaign. And it takes into consideration, again, the number of queries relevant to this keyword or a search term that you're using, the competition and everything. So the system would know better, but I won't.
So something to bear in mind for all, you cannot know what your competitor is bidding on. It's completely confidential information. There's no way you can know. So don't try looking for it.
The system logically will select the highest, right?
What's that?
The system will select the highest?
No, so this is why we talked about quality score and ad rank, right? So it's not like I come and bid a lot of money and I'll be ranked at the top. No, it has to do with how much you pay, yes, and how much your quality score is. So there are two factors that come into play.
So we could be owning two competitive companies, and could be bidding on the same thing. I bid higher, but your quality score is higher. So your ad would actually your ad would appear in a higher position in the market.
Go ahead.
No.
Well, I think we have to kind of the same question. As a new website or a new company or new to AdWords, you will not have built up the track record to have a quality score every time. And you also will not have this page rate that gets you high in the organic search results. So how do you get up, let's say, on top or at least on the first page as a new AdWords user or a new company?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Did you guys hear the question? Okay, so his question is, if you're a new website, then how can the system, and it's your first campaign, so the system doesn't really have a track record of your click-through rates. Your ad hasn't appeared at all to be click-through. So how can you guarantee a higher position, ad position, and how does it happen, basically, right? So yeah, so basically our system is really very intelligent. So what it does is that based on the market behavior, so track record is not necessarily of yours, but of other similar businesses or similar ads, not businesses, and also the local queries. It predicts what would be the click-through rate, and then it sort of puts you in that rank of this click-through rate until you build that history, and then you have it could be even a higher or lower. So basically, it calculates different metrics, local queries, different, past behaviors, past campaigns, past ads, performance of those ads, and then it sort of automatically predicts a click-through rate, and then it builds on when you actually start your campaign. So you have a fair chance. Actually.
The most important thing to bear in mind is that it's not smart to sort of create a campaign, then pause it, stop spending, and then continue doing it. Because what you do is you are sort of breaking your historical record into pieces, and the system will recognize that it's not a consistent performance, and then it would be harmful to you. So
yeah, so just to elaborate on this, so basically if you're starting a campaign and it continues on for, let's say, for a month, and then you stop, and then if we stop for 2 weeks, and then you start again, you activate it again, the system would actually sort of not utilize the history that you've built, and to a large extent it would start building a new history, and that's not really in your best interest, because you want to really make use of the history of your campaign before. That's why Omar was saying that it's better if you keep your campaign running a little bit before you can actually pause it if you would want to pause it at all. I have a question. Yeah?
How to improve CTR or ad rank? Because the higher the ad rank, the higher it gets on the page.
Yeah.
How to improve?
How to improve your ad rank?
Ad rank and CTR.
Okay, so your CTR is one of the metrics that defines your ad rank. Okay, so to increase your CTR, there are so many different ways. We call it optimizations, basically to optimize your ad text. But a few giveaways would be to make sure that your keyword, you have a keyword in your ad text. So let's say if you're selling sunglasses or if you're selling glasses and you know that this is usually the term that people are searching for, you wouldn't put in your ad spectacles. You would use glasses, you know? And if a certain brand, let's say for example, whatever brand, then you would use it. So one thing is to basically make sure that your ad is going to be as relevant as possible to the search query. Include keywords, make it attractive. We always say that you have to have like a call to action. So what exactly are you expecting or you want the people to do or the user to do when they click on, when they see your ad? So say visit our website, buy your camera now, today on our website, visit our page, something like that. Join our Google Plus page, follow our Twitter account. So whatever, there are certain sort of best practices that you can follow, but the general rule of thumb is to make sure that your ad will be as highly relevant and attractive to the user as possible, because this would actually get them to really click.
When we actually start working with the accounts, we'll dedicate some time to that and show them.
Yeah, so we practice.
Alright, so
Ad rank is linked to advertising itself.
To the ad, yeah.
Does it inherit anything from the ad rank from the other advertisers when it's name?
No, so every ad is treated separately. So you can place like 3 different ads in your campaign and in your ad group. You have different 3 ads, and then different 3 ads because I can't count them with fingers for some reason. So yeah, you can have 3 different ads, and one of them can have a very, very high rank, and one of them might not. One of the very cool settings that you can actually set in your campaign is to choose the ad rotation, so which ad would basically appear based on how many times it's clicked. So you make sure that you're not all the ads that are not really having high click-through rates would appear, but actually it depends on how many ones, or show the ones that click through more.
Because I'm asking because if I have a special offer for 2 or 3 days,
Yeah.
it will be very hard to get that particular ad high up in the list.
yeah, so usually when you do that, you don't use search, you use display network. And that's something we'll cover with you as well.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see if you guys were paying attention. Were you guys paying attention? No? Come on, man. We'll find out. Okay, so what's the formula for ad rank? That's the first. Okay, sorry, let's ladies first.
CPC times quality score.
Very good. Well done. Alright, so what is the quality score composed of?
Quality score.
4 or 5 things.
Okay, so I'll take 2 from you and 2 from you. So go ahead, sir. Okay.
And
Relevance. Okay. And you? He said them
I
all
think
already.
landing page assessment was there, relevancy of some other factors. I think some signals you talked in your.
Okay, good. So pretty close. So we can see that it's a click-through rate. I've said relevance of ad text. So historical keyword performance. Remember we spoke about history and how it's important. Landing page assessment. So how relevant is a landing page to your ad? And finally, other factors that are relevant as well, which we don't know. And finally, is Gmail part of the GDN?
yes.
No?
Yes.
No. Yeah, the Google Display Network.
Not part of Google Display, it's text-based. So,
Okay.
text.
Okay.
Not bad ads.
Okay. We'll get back to that.
Yes, part of the.
Who answered the one question last time? Was it you?
All of us.
All of you. Okay, so the answer is yes. Okay, so just going back on your point. So when you advertise on the display network, you can use both image ads and text ads. But usually it's preferable to use image ads because they're more attractive than text ads. Yes, but it's still part of the Google Display Network.
So the network is irrelevant of the format that your ad appears in. So it could be text, it could be whatever website, even a blog, and then your ad appears in text, but it's part of the network.
I have a question
Yeah.
regarding keywords.
Sure.
Each word is considered a keyword, or a combination of words can be considered a keyword?
Very good question. So it is a combination of words and a single word. So buy cameras is a keyword.
There is way to specify using quotes or something?
Yeah, so you group them by just putting a comma. So you say buy camera, comma, camera, comma, buy cameras online, comma.
Got it. Same as the YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube tags.
Yeah.
And we usually recommend actually to use what we call long-tailed keywords. So instead of just like one word keyword, we usually would say, okay, use something like buy digital cameras online, because these are they usually rank better in terms of relevance. So they have a better chance of getting higher quality scores, but also because obviously they're more relevant, and when you say, the more specific you are, the more relevant.
Go ahead.
But that I would actually pass it on to
11 answers Google search page, that means you have only contract with 11 companies.
It's not a contract. Remember, it's auction based, right? So whichever company is qualified to have their ad show will appear there. Does that make
So I
sense?
could be having an ad, but it will not appear out of the 11.
Correct. It's possible. Okay, that's where the quality score and ad rank comes in. Okay, so now, go ahead, sir.
Can I show something?
Yes, so this is where, remember we talked about placements and contextual targeting. So in placements, you can actually go in and say, I only want my ads to appear on Gmail, or I only want my ads to appear on this website or on that website. You can actually do that. You have the power to control where your ads appear. Okay? Any more questions before we move on? Yeah, go ahead.
What should be the budget for any campaign? Because this is the most common question our client asks.
Very good. So this again depends on your advertising objectives. So if you want, for example, to work in a very competitive market, obviously your budget has to be a lot more than what you have to work in a market that's not so competitive. So, for example, travel is a very competitive industry, and to actually do well in travel, you have to have a good quality score, but also quite a good budget. So that's one example. But if you're, for example, working in diamonds is quite a lucrative market, and there are some competitors. And there's something that's really not out there. Let's say like a plastics manufacturer of sole shoes, something that's not really common. It's not going to be so expensive. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to. Okay. More questions. Sorry. Go ahead.
Are AdWords in any way affecting the natural search?
No. No, because you pay for the ads only. Okay, you can't affect those searches. Yeah.
How I will decide which way I will go? I will go for pay-per-click or pay-per-impressions?
Very good question. So you have something called cost per click and cost per mil, or CPM. So it depends on your advertising objective. So if you want a direct response, you usually ask people to click on the ad. But if you want a branding campaign where you just want to blast everyone with your message, like example, sending out a lot of flyers, you use CPM because you pay for the 1,000, not per click, which is better. Very good question. Yep, go ahead.
Can you combine both context and audience, for example, determine the audience and determine the keyword? So
you can
show ads for the audience.
That's very good, but it sort of defeats the purpose, right? Because you want, you go through the trouble of choosing all the keywords, but then you tell the system that I want to choose which ads appear on. So you can, but usually you shouldn't do that.
So usually a better practice would be to set two campaigns, one as on the audience based and one on the context, and then you can actually compare and then invest more in the one that's performing better.
Cool. Yeah.
Actually, I got some money in my account using AdSense in my PayPal account. I don't have a Visa card, Mastercard.
Okay, that's
I
a
have
very
a
good
Mastercard, but it's not going there. So
okay, so you cannot transfer that. You want to transfer money from
I
AdSense
want
to
it
AdWords?
back to Google or something and send me through another way.
Okay, so unfortunately, the only payment options we have in the region right now are if you're a really big company, is invoicing or credit card. We don't have any other options, unfortunately, at the moment, but we're working on that. So the only way you can actually pay for AdWords is via your credit card.
So apply for one and look for a banker.
Any questions? Shall we move on? Are we good? Are we feeling energized? Do we need a break?
Do we need an energy break?
Do we need some coffee? Yes? Okay, so let's take a 5-minute breather. Please be back in 5 minutes so we can continue. We have half the presentation left to go and then a hands-on approach. Okay, so 5 minutes please. Thank you. CPC2 is how much you actually pay. Okay, this is a pretty good chart of how it works. So this combines your cost per click and your quality score. So let's say advertiser A has a maximum CPC, or how much they're willing to pay per click, is of 40 cents. The quality score is 1.8, so the rank number would be 0.72, right? And the actual CPC is 0.37. I'll show you how that's calculated. Advertiser B is willing to pay 65 cents. Quality score is 1, so it's lower than advertiser A. Okay? Even though they're paying more, they'll still be ranked second. Okay? And finally, advertiser C, 25 cents, 1.5% quality score, they rank third. Okay? And the reason they all pay differently is that little formula you see on the side. Okay? So 0.65 divided by 1.8 equals 0.36. And the way they get 0.65 is they subtract okay, so 1.8 is the quality score, and 0.65 is the advertiser B's CPC, right? So you take the competitor's bid and it's divided by your quality score, and you get an actual CPC of how much you pay. It's quite a complicated formula that the system does automatically. We don't actually see how it's done, okay? But it's done to ensure that it doesn't mean that if you pay more, you're going to get better ranking. So it's just something that goes on in the back end of the system. Okay, just we have a quick section recap over here. Okay, so ads are shown on Google, the display network, and our partners. Ad rank is the maximum CPC multiplied by quality score, and as the previous slide showed, we discount clicks to the minimum required for that position, so you'll never pay more than you actually should. Okay? Yes. Sure. This one? You can't. No, you can't get it. This is just something that is for your knowledge on how it's calculated, but you don't actually see any of this. Because you can't see your competitors' data to figure out how much you're going to actually pay. There's always a competitor. Then you set the industry benchmark.
Because I tried combine in month 0.
Okay. If you know industry that's like that, please let me know so I can start with it. That doesn't really exist. Yeah. Okay, so an account overview. So it's very important the way you structure your account. And I usually like to give an example I crafted. I think it's really good. People think it's a little silly, but I like it very much. So I'll tell you guys this example of this. So let's just look at the account here. So the first level we have is the AdWords account, right? So it's sort of the first thing that you have access to, okay? The second thing is a campaign. So once you enter the account, you create a campaign, okay? You can have multiple campaigns within one account, but usually you have one account and then several campaigns. And then it's broken down again into something called an ad group, okay? Which is also a breakdown of the campaign. Then within an ad group, you have the ad text, which are the ads that you create. And then under the ad text, you have the keywords which trigger the ad. So if you look at it from a bottoms-up perspective, you have keywords that are entered or searched by a user. These keywords trigger ads, which are the ad text. The ad texts are placed in ad groups, which fall under campaigns, and the campaigns fall under the whole account. Is that clear? It will get much clearer once I give you my cool example. Okay, so my cool example is a shoe store. Okay, so let's say you're going shopping for shoes. Okay, you have something in mind, but you'd like to see the options out there. And you walk into a store, and the first thing you see in the store is a big box with all the shoes in it. Right? First of all, it's a complete mess. You don't know how you're going to find the shoe that you want. Okay, and once you start looking, you might find the shoe, but it's the wrong size, and you might not find the other pair. So what we want this store to do is to sort of structure the way they show the shoes, right? So let's say they do the whole restructuring, and you come back, and you find two boxes. One is for males, and one is for females. So depending on your gender, you know which box to go to. It's a little bit more structured, but you still face the same problem, right? You might find the shoe you're looking for, wrong size, wrong color, and so on. Let's say this store now is really understanding that the clients are getting frustrated, and they want to fix this problem as soon as possible. So they break it down by gender, so male and female, and then they break it down by brand. Okay, so now I know when I walk into the store, like, okay, so this is the male section. This is where I'm going to go. I'm looking for Nike shoes. I go to the Nike section, and then I can browse and find the shoe that I'm looking for. It applies to the account as well. So let's look at this example here. Okay? We're looking at an advertiser that's selling movie products. Okay, so this is the ad. Movie products, great prices on movie merchandise, shop now. Okay? And then look at the keywords. Spider-Man toys, Lord of the Ring toys, Matrix toys, Star Wars gear, Spider-Man video. So for me, this is walking into the store that has a big box in the middle. I don't know what the ad is saying, what the keywords are offering me different things. This is confusing for the advertiser. So this ad is not going to do well. Alright? After the restructuring, this is what happens. So they've added new ad texts that are a little bit more specific. So movie toys, great prices on movie toys, shop now. Movie video games, okay? Great prices on movie video games, shop now. Movie gear, okay? But they're still not that specific. It's good, but it's not very good. So what they've done is they structured it so that the ads make a bit more sense and keywords sort of trigger the correct ads. But look at this one, okay? They've broken it down so it's extremely specific. So the exact same example as in the brand. So we have Spider-Man toys, Star Wars toys, Matrix video games. And look at the keywords. Matrix toys, Matrix figure, Matrix action figures. These are all keywords that are extremely relevant to the ad. And these are all the shoes that are ranked according to the brand. And organized to the client or the user. Whenever they search for something, they get a relevant ad which is relevant for them, which is good for the advertiser. Clear? You like my example? Yes. Okay. Sorry, you have a question?
Can you consider all these ads grouped under one campaign?
Very good.
Or
So
it's different campaigns?
Okay, very good. So she's asking if these are all ad texts and ad groups under one campaign or under different campaigns. So you can have them all under one campaign. You can have multiple ad groups. So for example, we can have shoes. Okay, and then we have different ad groups like Nike, Adidas, Puma. And then within each ad group, you can have different ad texts. Okay, and then you can have different keywords to trigger each one. Is that clear? Yes. Cool. Go ahead.
So this applies on Arabic, English ads, right?
Yes, perfect. It does.
You can have ad groups within one campaign.
Yes.
Arabic and English.
Yeah, but as we mentioned earlier, it's a best practice to split Arabic campaigns from the English campaigns, so you can choose the proper keywords for each one, so that each one has its own metrics, its own ad text, and so on.
Can we apply some shared kind of keywords for the ad groups?
You can apply shared keywords, but the bad thing about that is some keywords will get better quality scores than others, and then if one starts beating the other, then it won't trigger the ad that the keyword's not doing so well. Okay, so you want to try to avoid that. Great question. Yep.
How many maximum number of keywords recommended to be attached to a specific ad?
Very good. So for each ad group, right? Because within the ad group we have different ad texts. We recommend between 25 to 35 keywords. Okay. At first we recommend a bit more so that the ad can perform, and then you can sort of distinguish between the really good keywords and the bad ones, and you can pause the bad ones and just keep working on the good ones. So they filter them out. It's like oil and water.
If I have different targeting in terms of the display network or the search network, is it recommended to split them?
Yes, it is. It is recommended to split them because, as we said, for example, the click-through rate in search is different than the click-through rate in display. If you have them together, you're going to get the metrics all jumbled up, and then you won't know if your campaign is performing well or not.
So maybe if I'm running a campaign for a company having 3 different products in different languages and different networks, I might run with 10 or 12 campaigns for one account.
Yes. Yeah, you can have many campaigns per account.
Yeah, I mean, but managing them will not be easy in this case. But this is
yeah, it won't be easy, but it will give you the proper results that you want. So if you want, you can make it easy for yourself and have 2 campaigns, but you're going to get completely lost in the metrics. Yeah. So just going a step back here, so AdWords is quite a complex product, but when you really get into it and when you really know how to use it, it's so powerful, and it's such a good advertising medium. Cool?